In this third lesson, I'm getting a little bit more into structural links. A radionics expert once stated that radionics is part of ceremonial magic. He considers the tuner a solidified thought form and the rates representing agreements with the subtle nature spirits. A nice mapping, and I can agree with such an animistic approach. I'm using animistic approaches myself in certain operations that I'm doing, and it's just as valid as my materialistic one. In the old times, people thought of lightning of being a god. In fact, they considered practically all natural phenomena, even planetary energies, as being anthropomorphic gods, which means gods that look like humans, act like humans, clothe like humans, etc. And still in our days, most people have a concept of some gods or god. I like to say gaseous mammal above the cloud, usually bearded, of the male sex, who made it all, or female sex, it doesn't matter. And of course it's clothed like humans, it acts like humans, it has the characteristics of humans, it's etc. At some point in human history, natural scientists began to develop models which were less anthropomorphic on the one hand, and naturally more useful on the other, because they explored things. And from such expansion of scientific concepts, they developed new technologies. Some people may be quite correct if they say that cars are gods that transport us, provided that we appease them with some liquid called gasoline, and that we know how to touch them correctly once we are inside. It's okay for humans to satisfy themselves with an animistic approach. In fact, with this approach, they were and still are capable of developing new technologies, and when regarded as a collectively accepted method of explaining a huge factual basis, we can add the label objective to it. It's objective, as a collective placebo effect. I consider objectivity as a subjectivity, collective subjectivity of a group, of a large group of people. And with the same approach, they can also use some techniques of magic and radionics if they follow the, let's say, correct traditions, religious tradition, or the rules and regulations in radionics, and a tradition which tells them how to do what. And it seems we have another and more useful option of a mapping, and the deciding factor is whether we can develop a much wider field of technologies from such an approach or not. Based on my own experiences, this certainly seems to be the case. At least it's with me and with a lot of people whom I know. And you will notice that once you start developing your own magical systems, your own structures and so on, hopefully you do. And this way we can begin to analyze magical and radionic procedures in scientific terms. And that's exactly what we have begun to do in the previous lessons. That's why I talk to you this much about structural links and so on. Naturally, we will find out soon that such a structural approach has more potential than the old animistic model could ever have offered and could ever offer in the future. And such approach will prove to be much more useful in many respects. Above all, it will lead us to an understanding of magic and radionics, which can easily rid us from the straitjacket of stale traditions. And at the same time, it will allow you to develop vibrant creativity, to expand your magical powers to levels that traditionalists are incapable of conceiving, and you can do so in a relatively short time.